Imagine a civilization so powerful, so vast, it ruled over 44% of the entire world's population at its peak. Their kings didn't just call themselves rulers, they called themselves kings of kings. Their roads stretched from Egypt to India. Their armies made Greece tremble. And their culture? It gave the world the first declaration of human rights, thousands of years before America even existed. That was Persia. But today, that same land is known as Iran, a country under international sanctions, locked in conflict with the West, and governed by one of the most controversial theocratic regimes on the planet. So what happened? How did the land of Cyrus the Great, a king history calls one of the most enlightened rulers who ever lived, become what we see today? And who are the key players that shaped this dramatic transformation? Sit tight. This is the full story, from the glory of ancient Persia to the Islamic Republic of Iran. And it is fascinating. Before we move ahead, kindly press the subscribe button and like this video. Tell us in the comment which story you would like us to share. Let's go back, way back. Around 550 BC, a man named Cyrus the Great founded what would become the first true superpower in human history, the Achaemenid Persian Empire. Now, what made Cyrus different from every other conqueror of his era? He didn't just crush people, he respected them. When he conquered Babylon in 539 BC, he freed the enslaved Jews, allowed them to return to their homeland, and proclaimed that people could worship their own gods. That document, the Cyrus Cylinder, is considered by many historians to be the world's first charter of human rights. It now sits in the British Museum. After Cyrus came Darius the Great, who expanded the empire to its peak. Under his rule, Persia stretched from modern-day Greece and Libya all the way to Pakistan and Central Asia. Darius built Persepolis, a ceremonial capital so grand, so breathtaking, that even the ruins that remain today draw millions of visitors every year. Persia was also a hub of science, astronomy, mathematics, and trade. The Silk Road connected through Persian territories. The Persian language, Farsi, became the language of culture, poetry, and intellectual thought across the ancient world. But empires don't last forever. In 330 BC, Alexander the Great, the young Macedonian king, swept through Persia and burned Persepolis to the ground. Some historians say it was revenge. Others say it was an accident fueled by a drunken celebration. Either way, a golden era was gone. But the Persian identity, that never died. Fast forward to the 7th century AD, Arab-Muslim armies swept out of the Arabian Peninsula in one of the fastest military expansions in history. By 651 AD, they had conquered Persia, defeating the Sassanid Empire, which had itself been a great Persian dynasty for over 400 years. Islam replaced Zoroastrianism, the ancient Persian faith, as the dominant religion. But here's the thing. Persia didn't just absorb Islam, it reshaped it. Persian scholars, poets, scientists, and administrators became the intellectual backbone of the Islamic caliphates. Names like Avicenna, Ibn Sina, one of the greatest physicians in history. Rumi, the poet whose words are still quoted globally today. Al-Biruni, mathematician and astronomer. These were Persian giants who changed the entire world's knowledge base. Then came the Safavid dynasty in 1501, a turning point that defines Iran's religious identity to this very day. Shah Ismail I declared Shia Islam the official state religion. This was massive. Most of the Muslim world followed Sunni Islam. Iran went Shia. That Shia-Sunni divide, established right here, is still at the heart of Iran's rivalry with Saudi Arabia and many of the Middle East's conflicts today. Now we're in the 20th century, and this is where things get explosive. By the early 1900s, a new dynasty ruled Iran, the Pahlavis. And in 1925, Reza Shah Pahlavi took power and modernized Iran rapidly, building railroads, schools, a national army. He even renamed the country. Officially. In 1935, Persia became Iran, from the ancient Aryan roots of the people. His son, Mohammad Reza Shah Pahlavi, took over in 1941, and here is where America enters the story. In 1951, a man named Mohammad Mossadegh became Prime Minister of Iran. He was democratically elected, and he did something bold. He nationalized Iran's oil industry, which had been controlled by the British. Britain and the United States were furious. In 1953, the CIA and British intelligence ran a covert operation called Operation Ajax. They orchestrated a coup d'etat. Mossadegh was overthrown. The Shah was restored to absolute power. That coup is one of the most consequential events in Middle Eastern history. It planted a seed of anti-American resentment in Iran that has never fully healed. The Shah ruled with an iron fist and Western support. He launched the White Revolution, modernization reforms that westernized Iranian society. Women entered the workforce, universities expanded, oil revenue boomed, but his secret police, the Savak, tortured and killed political opponents. Inequality was rampant, and the religious establishment felt their way of life was under attack. By the late 1970s, a revolution was brewing. Enter Ayatollah Ruhollah Khomeini. Born in 1902 in a small Iranian town, Khomeini was a Shia Islamic cleric who had spent years criticizing the Shah and years in exile for it. He was exiled to Iraq, then to France. But from Paris, he did something unprecedented. He used tape cassettes, recorded sermons smuggled into Iran, to mobilize millions of people. In January 1979, the Shah fled Iran. It was over. On February 1, 1979, Khomeini returned to Tehran. Over 5 million people flooded the streets to greet him. It was one of the largest political gatherings in human history. The Islamic Republic of Iran was born. Khomeini introduced a concept called Velayat-e-Faqih, the guardianship of the Islamic jurist. Basically, the supreme religious leader holds ultimate political authority. Government and religion merged completely. Then came the event that defined U.S.-Iran relations for generations to come. In November 1979, Iranian students, with government backing, stormed the U.S. Embassy in Tehran and took 52 American diplomats hostage. They were held for 444 days. America was humiliated. President Carter couldn't get them out. A rescue mission failed catastrophically. The hostages were finally released the day Ronald Reagan was inaugurated, January 20th, 1981. From that moment, the United States and Iran have had no formal diplomatic relations. That's over 40 years of enmity, and it all traces back to 1979. When Khomeini died in 1989, a man named Ali Khamenei stepped into his role as supreme leader. Now here's what's interesting about Khamenei. He wasn't the most senior cleric. He wasn't even widely considered the most qualified. But he was politically maneuverable, and that's what the system needed. Born in 1939, Khamenei had been a loyal revolutionary. He survived an assassination attempt in 1981 that left his right hand permanently disabled. He served as president of Iran before becoming supreme leader. Under his leadership, Iran fought through the aftermath of the devastating Iran-Iraq War, a war that lasted 8 years killed hundreds of thousands, and was covertly supported by the United States, backing Saddam Hussein. Khamenei hardened Iran's foreign policy. He deepened ties with groups like Hezbollah in Lebanon and Hamas in Gaza, creating what analysts call the axis of resistance, a network of Iranian-aligned forces across the Middle East. He oversaw Iran's controversial nuclear program, which the West insisted was for weapons development. Iran insisted it was for energy and medicine. This standoff led to crippling international sanctions that devastated the Iranian economy. In 2015, the Obama administration negotiated the Iran nuclear deal, the JCPOA. Iran agreed to limit uranium enrichment. Sanctions were partially lifted. It was a diplomatic breakthrough. Then, in 2018, President Trump pulled the United States out of the deal unilaterally and reimposed maximum pressure sanctions. Iran responded by accelerating its nuclear activities. Under Khamenei's watch, Iran also faced massive internal uprisings: the Green Movement in 2009, economic protests in 2019, and the Woman Life Freedom protests in 2022, sparked by the death of 22-year-old Mahsa Amini in morality police custody. Each time, the regime cracked down, hard. Ali Khamenei led Iran for over 3 decades. He remained supreme leader until the very end, navigating Iran through war, sanctions, internal revolt, and regional proxy conflicts. So here we are, Iran today, a country of 88 million people, one of the most educated populations in the Middle East, with a literacy rate above 85%, a nation of poets, engineers, doctors, and artists, a country sitting on the world's second-largest natural gas reserves and fourth-largest proven oil reserves, and yet, a nation under crippling sanctions, isolated diplomatically, struggling economically, with a young population increasingly frustrated with the regime they were born under. The story of Iran is not a simple one. It's not just a story of villains and victims. It's a story of one of humanity's oldest and richest civilizations, navigating colonialism, revolution, religion, and geopolitics. From Cyrus the Great, who freed the enslaved, to Mossadegh, who was overthrown by foreign powers, to Khomeini, who reshaped an entire nation overnight, to Khamenei, who held that nation in his grip for 36 years. Iran is a country where the past and present are always in conversation.